Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, host of the free iTunes podcast, Psychiatry Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, but that's not why I'm here today. This is another Saving Savvy episode, and this time, at the end of 2015, I'm going to do a review on a camera that came out in 2012. Camera received some bad reviews, and rightly so. So I'm going to tell you about all those bad things, and then I'm going to tell you that you might want to buy the camera. So how about that for a confusing review? This is actually the Canon EOS M. This was their first entry into the mirrorless interchangeable camera market, and there was a lot of excitement and anticipation about this camera, and it was pretty pricey too. So this particular version, which has the 18 to 55 millimeter lens, and the camera was not even sold in the States, but sold for almost $1,000 when you do the euro conversion. That's a lot of money. You could buy a pretty good DSLR, you could buy other interchangeable lens system cameras. And so how did this one stack up? Well, people found fault with it for a number of reasons. First of all, it didn't have a built-in flash. Second of all, despite its pricey cost, the controls were extremely simple and relied heavily on a touchscreen on the back of the camera. But the worst thing about this camera is that it had really slow autofocus, despite the fact that it had all these phase detectors on its sensor and contrast detection. It was just really, really slow. So why am I telling you to buy this? Well, you have to look at some of the positives too. Well, some of the positives are that it has a really solid, wonderfully built case. It's very small. It has a high resolution screen on the back, and the touch controls are reasonably okay. I would have to say that I find that using touch controls exclusively to achieve certain functions in the camera is a little bit, I don't like it too much, but it's there and it's easy to use. This actually has a microphone input, despite the fact that it's such a small camera. Although it doesn't have a flash, it has a fully functional hot shoe that will work with any Canon flash or any compatible Canon flash. It has an APS-C size sensor that really is it's 18 megapixels. It's, I think, out of the the 650D camera, which is a digital Rebel camera, and so that was a pretty good camera. So it has that sensor. It has a Digix 5 processor, which is also from that era, so it has reasonably good high ISO performance. I don't think it's quite as good as a Nikon or a Sony, but not too bad. 3200, no problem. Push it to 6400 if you wish. It has very good movie performance, so it's 1080p movies, and you can do manual controls, and actually the pictures look quite good as far as just the picture output too. So a lot of positives, but again, when it came out, there were certainly cameras that competed against this camera and won, because they had viewfinders, because they had articulating screens, because they had great autofocus. And so when this camera came out with firmware number 1, it was pretty much a dog. And actually, when I got this camera just a week or so ago, it actually had firmware 1 point something on it, and I would say that the autofocusing was almost unusable. Now, I did upgrade it to 2.02, which is the latest firmware for this camera, and it's not a speed demon, but let me show you. We'll put it on or turn it on, and here we go. So they go here, close, far, close, far. You can see it takes a second or so to function or to focus. Now, how would you rate this? Is it as fast as some of the other interchangeable lens cameras? Absolutely not. It feels more like a compact camera in its focusing. Certainly fine for the majority of things, but definitely not okay if you're trying to shoot sporting events or super active kids, just because they'll be out of range before the thing locks into focus. But good picture quality, good movie quality, and in fact, people were buying these cameras to use them as video cameras because they have the mic jack and the hot shoe to put accessories on, and they were working out quite well. So that's how I got interested in this camera, and I did buy one. So why did I buy a camera? Because it's no longer $1,000. I think the camera body was $165. The lens was about $75. So for $240, and it looks all brand new to me, although it was claimed to be used. So for $240, I have an APS-C size sensor camera with a great display, with a hot shoe, with a reasonably sharp lens, and I can also put in other Canon lenses on this with an adapter 5x1. Pretty good deal. So something that was $1,000 a few years ago, outrageously priced at around $242. Awesome. Even if you paid $300 for the combination, it would be awesome. So if you see these around and you want to play around with the camera, you want a little smaller camera with an APS-C size sensor, but you don't want to pay full freight, you might want to consider the Canon EOS M. This is the original one. Autofocusing has been improved with the firmware. Still not a speed demon, but on many other fronts, not too bad. If you get some time, please give my podcast a listen. It's called Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike. You can find it on iTunes and other pod-catching sites. If you like this video, appreciate a thumbs up very much. If you like this channel, which is very diverse, please subscribe. Take care.